company's core values are the most important thing to scale. It is not the technology. It's not the strategy. It is 100% core values.
On the show, we're going to sit down and talk about the metamorphosis that happens when you become a leader.
We'll share our biggest wins and our losses and interview other leaders to find out how they stay in charge without losing their minds.
I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Zach. Welcome to the Who's in Charge podcast.
Hello. Welcome back, everybody. I'm so excited for today's episode because we have one of my favorite people I've met in this SaaS journey, Kathryn O'Day and her husband, Kyle O'Day. And I'm so excited to get in and chat with you guys and learn more about your story and share that with everybody. But before we start, I have to make an announcement, and I feel like it's germane because we're going to talk about a little bit of SaaS stories, etc. So I feel like it would be silly for me not to take a quick second to remind everybody that's listening that we have REI Tech Unlocked that is happening in September 19th through 21st in Dallas, Texas. Please go to reitechunlocked.com and buy a ticket and come. We have some crazy, amazing speakers and guests and sponsors in the tech playground, and you guys have to know about it. So please make sure you go and check that out. But with that aside, and without further ado, welcome, Kathryn and Kyle. Hi, guys.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
I'm so pumped that you guys are here. And we get to hang out and have a double date together. I wish it was in person, but we'll take it this way.
Next time.
Well, I kind of just want to start. We'll just break the ice a little bit. I just want to hear first, just how did you guys meet? Tell us your love story. Tell us how you guys met each other.
Okay, Kathryn has to do this because I am constitutionally incapable of looking back to reminisce. Like if you want somebody to look back and give you a very factual, this is what happened account of events, great, I can do that for you. But Kathryn's going to have to give you our
Are you more romantic about it? Like we met, it was it, and we moved and we got married?
No, I'm just always forward. There's no backwards. I'm always forward looking.
Kyle's worst nightmare is at Thanksgiving with my family when we have to all go around and say something we're thankful for in the year. Kyle obsesses about it for 3 weeks ahead of time. So I'll take the getting to meet story. But my only request is that you guys have to ask Kyle some questions because I like to dig the compliments out of Kyle.
Okay, Kyle.
So occasionally I'll hear this amazing little moment that I've never heard before from Kyle. So I'm asking you guys today to get my husband to give me compliments.
Okay. I'm coming for you, Kyle.
We can analyze whatever that means. So we met in 2012. I had just done Ironman Florida and I had qualified for Hawaii, which is the world championship. And I was like, I need to not embarrass myself when I go to the world championship. So how can I shore up all of my sports? And there was a recommendation for the best running coach in Atlanta. And he would look at your biomechanics and your form and help you run faster. And that was Kyle O'Day. So we did 4 sessions together and all above board, but funny, funny.
But you were
everything
crushing on coach. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So all above board, he gave me what I later came to find was an amazing compliment, which is that he told me that my running form was not terrible, which is high praise from Kyle. And, at the end of our 4th session, I was like, oh no, what do I do? And I called my friend who has always said, he's like, Kathryn, if somebody likes you, they will make a move. And I was like, I know, but I think he's kind of shy. What do I need and lo and behold, same day, Kyle invited me to a Muay Thai fight. He was doing MMA, boxing at the time. Cool. And he invited me to a fight at his gym. And that was our first date. And it was still, I was like, I think this is a date. I'm not sure if this is a date. But then the second date, then the next day, I knew that we were on the right track when I was we said, should we hang out again? And I was like, well, I have to go grocery shopping tomorrow. Do you want to come grocery shopping? And he was like, yeah, I would love to go grocery shopping. And so we went grocery shopping for our second date. And those are the kinds of things we still like to do, is like sports and errands.
Oh,
It's amazing.
That's really, so were you super shy, Kyle? Did you have to like plan this and prep this up for the,
No.
for the MMA fight invite?
No. But you can't be too creepy. Like the world is overrun with creepy coaches. Like you can't be another one, you know? Gotta wait till the
complimentary stretching session. Like
there you go. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Oh, Kathryn, I think you need some massage work here. So you gotta wait till the professional relationship is ended, you know?
that's good.
So you knew you were going to ask me out? Kyle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so he
How'd
was
you
working.
know? What was it? There had to be something that stood out about her.
You know, I would say the biggest thing that was apparent quickly was that Kathryn had ambition and like was kind of an ass kicker, you know, like in a good way. You know, like she was motivated and focused and, you know, into whatever she was doing it well. I would say that was kind of the most recognizable thing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I feel like I felt that gravity from you, Kathryn, when we first had a conversation about SaaS and Salesforce and like our journeys, and you told me your story, which I want you to share here too. But I was like, this girl's an ass kicker. Like she's kind of a badass, and she's super ambitious and did like really bold things. So I could agree with that.
Wow. Well, thank you guys. This is so, I
We're just
didn't
gonna
know
run a
that this is where this
compliment.
was going to go.
I like this. Let's do more.
That's right. Kathryn wants to come back next week too.
Yeah.
I'll be here. We can talk about another topic about me. Great.
What I think is really interesting is you guys met kind of in the middle of a lot of growth, right? So I think, Kathryn, you were telling me that it was around the Pardot exit, or like you at least had done substantial growth and like were about to exit. So I think it's really interesting when you guys met in your professional journey, because that was like a really high pressure time in life too. And like when you told me you were also training for a triathlon and like you're doing all these crazy physical feats, I feel like I struggle to go for a walk and tear myself away from the computer in the middle of like growth mode. So I want to hear a little bit more about that too.
Yeah. So one of the things I loved about Kyle, we haven't talked about Kyle yet, but Kyle worked in pro track and field. So he understands deeply what it takes to do something great and it's not glamorous. It takes just a lot of time and dedication and energy. And you kind of need, like, everybody is rowing that boat to get the big thing done. And so he deeply understood like why I would be going to bed at 8:00 at night. He'd be like, of course you need to go to bed at 8:00. Like, so that was just a huge relief that we were aligned on that. The other thing that you just mentioned about the busyness of startups. So for me, doing triathlons, it was a forcing function to take a break. You had to you had to stop working. You had to go to bed. And so I find that I do well with constraints because I'm like a goldfish, right? I'll just eat and eat and eat and then I'll kill myself. So I like to kind of figure out how do I have forced constraints in my life. Now I have kids. Yeah. That's very much a constraint. Like when you get married, that's a constraint. Like you have to take care of your partner, be a good partner, having pets, all of those things. So for me, it wasn't, it was part of the journey and part of the experience. I didn't necessarily, they were two different things, but they're very much intertwined in my memory and how startups and training for any endurance event. So much overlap because you know, you can't.
This is an endurance event.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But what I love about it is, and special about it, sorry, Kyle, but is that you had this like a blossoming romance in the middle of training. like training for the triathlon, and then like building a startup, and like a super powerful startup, like a gigantic exit cool thing happen, like, and you had this romance bloom in front of it. And I think that that's really powerful for I want to learn from that too, but also for our listeners, are like, when you're building something, you feel so heads down, it feels like that, like all your relationships suffer. And it was a counter intuitive thing here, right? So yeah, I think that's so wonderful.
Yeah, I don't feel like your work ever put any stress or strain on our relationship. I feel like it was easy, and it was never, I don't ever remember it being a problem, right? Where it's like, oh, Kathryn's so busy, or she's got this going or that going or whatever. But maybe we didn't have kids and you were doing your business. I was, growing my business, and just kind of, I don't know, maybe we were both in the same mode there, but I don't ever recollect it being like that work was overflowing into life at home or anything like that.
Teach me your ways, because right? I'm a problem.
She's a problem.
I'm definitely a problem.
I think we talk a lot about the idea of balance, and I think the myth of balance, that you're never really balanced. I talk about the idea of harmony, but I think a lot of it even comes down to alignment. I think knowing that we're going to be out of balance, but aligned in the direction that we're going. Like, I think Stephanie's in a period of growth right now where it's like, all right, your life is not the most balanced, but we're aligned in the idea of there's a purpose and there's a passion, and we're going to support kind of as we go in that direction. I think that's been helpful for us. I don't know if you guys have anything else that made it so that it didn't seem like it was so stressful, like the grocery time together or whatever that happened to be.
Like the normal creature comfort things. Yeah.
Yeah. We definitely, I was going to ask, Steph, are there other things that you would rather be doing now than what you're doing, right? Grow your company, grow your family.
Not really. And it's funny, because I was talking to another entrepreneur that had multiple exits, and they're like, one of my, an angel investor. And they're like, one of my red flags with founders is they don't have enough hobbies, like when they don't have enough hobbies. And I was like, oh gosh, shots fired. What are my hobbies now? And I'm like, okay, no, I have hobbies. My children, my family, like, right. They keep you busy. And then I like to read, and I like to be outside and like, walk, and like, I'm not a runner like I used to be. I like to travel, but I felt myself like, wait, how many hobbies do I have? And I'm not good at that part, because I'm so happy doing like kind of the core things, which is building the business and doing our family and kids stuff, that I don't find myself yearning to have opportunity to do other things, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Zach?
Do you feel the same way? Yeah. Yeah. Zach, what about you?
Do I have hobbies? No. And so I would say the children have kind of taken over. Like you said, is there anything else I'd rather do? When I think about it, not really. Like, you have such a limited amount of time with your kids. Like, when you look at the statistics of the amount of time you spend between 0 and 18, and then how many minutes you have with your kids from 18 on, like, I really want to be able to absorb as much of that as I can, number one. And number two, I have a big goal of creating a relationship with my children that they want to spend time with me when they don't have to. So as they do get to be 18, 20,
Not just you, okay?
At least me a little bit more than her, but like us. No, just kidding. But so that they actually want to be able to come back. And I mean, quite frankly, now they're at these ages where, 16, 14, 11. How old's the other one? 11. That they're actually a lot of fun. And so we can go do things. Like, if I'm going to watch sports, rather than sit on the couch and watch a sporting event by myself that only I'm interested in, we're going to their sports, or can we go and do things together? My son, now we're able to go fishing together. I want to try to get him into golfing. And so I don't know. I think more of that, but I do think that the idea of building the business and doing those things is exciting. It is enjoyable. So I kind of get a lot of my fulfillment through there. And I could use some more hobbies probably.
So I'll say one thing, Kathryn, you can disagree, but I think that helps us is just you guys talking about it, going back to it not feeling crazy and not feeling overwhelming, is we have intentionally made decisions so that it doesn't feel overwhelming, right? Like I've backed off on my business, right? We made a decision a long time ago for Kathryn to kind of accelerate and for me to back off and have more, at this point now I work from home. So, and I've cut that back honestly to kind of like half-time work now so that I am available to pick up the slack. I'm available to, before the podcast, I was trying to register kids for soccer, which is like, it's a 2-hour event to get it done.
It is,
right?
it's
And you
intense.
better do it when you need to, or else it's gone.
Exactly, right? Yeah. But somebody has to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But we've intentionally pulled back, especially on my side of work, so that I can do something like register kids for soccer without, it being at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday night, right? And we, it sounds funny, but even something as purposeful as our front yard is just a bunch of weeds. It's whatever grows up, like whatever pops up, right? And
It's funny,
if
you
it's
don't
a
have to
mess,
plant those and they still grow.
no, don't have to plant them. Like it always looks ratty even when I mow it. So I don't have to mow it as often as everybody else does with their nice grass yard, right? So we've kind of intentionally made choices like that along the way too, of like kind of opting out of some of the things that at least that we think aren't necessary kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
If it were up to me, I would have gotten rid of everything in our house. Like I would have decluttered our house so that there's nothing in it and you just walk in and it's like a floor and there's like some kale in the fridge. And I've heard that if you can get rid of enough stuff, then your life is calm. So that would be my ideal, but we haven't, that's why it's good to have a partner because they hold you back from the ideas that maybe aren't the best. But
Come home, there's one bean bag in the middle of the floor.
yeah.
Right.
Guys, we're going to eat dinner here. We're going to sleep here. We're going to do all the things on the beanbag.
I know. If it was up to me, I'd be like, I'm ordering takeout because I just don't have the mind space to cook anything.
Yeah.
I think that yin and yang and that balance is so important, right? And I think, we've talked about this as well, the idea of like different roles and who's responsible for roles and what's typical role versus what is actually happening. And I think we've seen in our marriage and relationship, some of those things shift. Stephanie is by far, she's better than me at like pretty much everything, which kind of sucks. And so then whenever I have to take
Just
something
Mario
over,
Kart. He can't get over the fact I'm better at him in the Mario Kart. That's really what it is.
But whether it comes down to like planning vacations, like you think about how you planned the Disney vacation, like I would never plan anything like to that detail. So now as you get busier and I take over some of those roles, it's definitely been an adjustment on everybody. But really important that the communication, I think, and expectations are had, and we can adapt and grow together. I think is probably the biggest marriage advice that I could ever give anybody is the idea of like, things are always shifting and changing, and how you shift and change together is the most important, not necessarily how they change.
We have a dynamic in our relationship, and I'm curious if this happens to y'all. So the joke in our family is that we're never both happy and doing great at the same time. There's always like one person will be like, I'm so stressed. The other person will start helping them more. And then that person will get stressed from helping them. And then the other person's like, okay, I'm going to do more because you're stressed. And so the joke is like, we're just constantly going back and forth of like, who's a little bit more stressed and who's helping. And so one day, Kyle, we're going to find it's going to hit perfectly. It's going to hit perfectly. But we always tend to be like one person is a little bit more. And if they are, then you flip back and forth. Does that happen to y'all? Is that just us?
100%. And what's good about that is usually we're not both down at the same time. Like that's just like we're both not, everything's not perfect at the same time for both of us. We're both never down at the same time, which I think would feel crazy if that ever happened. But it's definitely like that, like yin and yang. I'm like freaking out over something, can't sleep. And he's like, it's going to be fine because it's always fine. I'm like, okay, it has always been fine. And then the reverse is true. It's funny.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard of like a Shakti mat. It's like an acupressure mat. That's my go-to timeout sometimes. I'm like, I've had enough. I'm going to timeout. I'm going on the Shakti. I'll see you later.
How long do you lay on it for?
Yeah.
Usually I'll set it like an Alexa timer for like 15 or 20 minutes. If it's a bad day though, I'm just hit snooze and I keep going.
It makes
So wait,
you want
is it a mechanical motorized thing, or is it
No,
like
it's
I'm
literally
curious.
just hard plastic. Yeah, it's like literally just hard plastic that are sharp points, not quite like a needle, like an acupuncture, but just like, and it's crazy. I mean, you get up and it has like all these indentations on your back.
It's like a bed of nails. Like you lay down on a bed. It's like a bed of nails, except it's plastic.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is so relaxing. I'm like, no, I'm not getting on this thing.
Wait, I'm like, I immediately want one. I'm like, oh, well, let's try that. I love a great little afternoon 15-minute nap.
Yeah.
If I can sneak
think they
one
make a
in,
full body
it's
one.
glorious.
I think they make a full body one, and I would recommend probably that one. I've just got it's like 3 feet. So I don't know. I want to
you have
immerse
to
my
pick.
whole body in this thing. Some days I'm like,
Like,
Stephanie,
oh,
will you just
more
lay on
nails.
top of me? I'm like, lay on top of me. She's like, no, I won't. I'm like, I want more pressure, please.
No, I think how we handle those peaks of stress are really important. Zach likes this stupid mat, which I just can't get. I can't get on board. I like to go outside and stand in the sunshine and be like, I am
That's good.
up. I am on a spinning rock in the middle of space. This whatever I'm feeling is going to be fine. Sunshine helps me. I know we talked about that. Like, don't you have a vagus nerve stimulator, Kathryn?
I have a Sensate.
Do you still use that?
I still do it almost every night. It's like a little fob that vibrates and you put it on your chest. And it connects to your phone, like it plays via your phone so you can have some music. And I sleep with it almost every night. And of course, I'm a super nerd. So I have a Whoop. Kyle and I, we have his and her Whoops, which has been a fun thing because it's fun and it's also a little competitive, which we like. But it helps my recovery score so much. My HRV, sorry, is this too nerdy? That my
No, I love it.
resting heart rate goes down and my heart rate variability increases, which is good. And then my sweet husband, because I hate having my phone in the bedroom, but I'm so tired, I cannot get out of the bedroom to bring it out of the bedroom. I leave it on Kyle's nightstand so that when he comes to bed, he takes the phone out of the bedroom.
Very nice.
I will say, so getting back to like in times of stress, I think Kathryn, we have very different approaches when it gets stressful, which is it seems like you try to pare down and like get rid of what's not necessary, right? Like, is that a fair assumption, right? Yeah. And then mine, just getting back to me not being me only being forward looking, right, is like my approach to is like the only way is through. Like I've just got to work to get through it, kind of thing, So it's just kind of polar opposites there in terms of how we approach those stressful moments.
Yeah, I will say I also do the thing of I get really detailed. So if I'm stressed, you're going to find me like in my inbox trying to get to inbox 0, which is really sometimes the strategy is like, actually, you should not do any email at all. You should just go to bed or just only worry about this big thing, or you should not go on that work trip. You should cancel the work trip. So I do think like I have a little bit more of the detail and Kyle is a little bit more big picture. So sometimes that helps too, because you'll pull me out of being here in the weeds, like getting more and more rigid. Like I have to do more workouts and eat more kale if I'm going to get through this. So it is a nice balance. It's a nice balance.
That actually feels really nice to hear you say that, because that's my tendency too. And Zach's not that way. And so it's so interesting that that you guys have that same dynamic, because I do the same thing when I'm super stressed and I can't pull myself out of that. Like I don't know how to do it. I need somebody else to do it. And that was actually kind of a point of contention in our relationship, because like Zach has to pull me out of it, and he's like pissed. I'm like, no, but I'm not pissed. Like it's okay. Like give me shit about it, because I literally can't. When I'm feeling super, super stressed, I check everything. And of course that actually makes me feel more stressed, because then I find stuff and then like I want to complete something. So like you check it and you try to complete it, but you actually can't complete it in that moment because you need other things or whatever. And then I go into like this spiral of like, I have to check everything. I have to complete something. If it's my email, if it's a project, if it's a slide deck or whatever it is. And I like cannot pull myself out. And Zach will be like, it's freaking 6:00. And I just served, like, dinner's on the table. The kids are sitting down. What the hell are you doing? And I'm like, oh, thank you. Okay. I'm getting up. And like, so, and then he would be like, I don't want to tell her. I don't want to interrupt, or I don't want to like have to nag, like, and I'm like, no, but I actually want you to, it doesn't hurt my feelings. I need you to like yoink me out of my own brain. It's so
tough
helpful.
Ambitious people always have something to do, and you know, and nothing is ever finished. There's always another thing to do, another thing to check. And like you said, then there's something else to do. There's another action item out of it. And like, when is enough? I feel like, I don't know, maybe it was burnout, but I feel like I just got to a point a few years ago where I like recognized that. And I'm like, I'm going to kill myself if I just keep going to the idea of like, I got to wait till I finish everything. So I had to become okay with there's more to do, but
there's always more to
day.
do tomorrow.
That's why I think the constraints are super helpful. Like, no, I like you said, I will work until I just bleed to death. I don't know why I'm wired that way. But so having a constraint of like, no, it's dinner time and my family's going to be upset if I don't go sit down and eat dinner, then I got to go sit down and eat dinner. Like, I need that constraint, right? Like, I need to be home for bedtime. Like, I can't take that meeting because I am going to miss bedtime. So I can't do that. I have to be there. Those are the things like the other people get really upset about, right? And of course I do too. Like, I don't want to miss it, but I need that constraint for sure.
Are you guys familiar with the term of the satisficer?
No.
Okay, so the idea is like, sometimes the best approach is like just to be like, that's good enough, right? Like the idea of like, it's a combination of what it's like, it would be a combination of what satisfy and suffice, right? Where it's like, it's good enough and it makes me happy and we'll go with that, right? Instead of getting in getting in the whole like, oh, this has to be perfect. I have to do every last detail, on and on and on and on. The idea of like, you get it 90% of the way there, you're going to get about the same results and, 50% less stress kind of thing, I am not the best satisficer, but you guys just talking about it, I was like, hey, you guys should know about this.
Right.
I think they talk about it in, there's a new book called Think Inside the Box by David Epstein, who wrote Range, which was also one of my favorite books. Because Kyle, I don't think you're a satisficer. I think you are.
No, I am not. I am absolutely not. But I'm just sharing. I'm sharing the concept. It's foreign to me. But
this might work. This might be a good idea for everyone else, even though no one on this call can do it.
There's something I'm working on. You should work on as well.
That's right.
If anybody wants to know whatever is the best and wants to buy the thing that has had hundreds of hours of research behind it, just ask Kyle what he bought, because Kyle doesn't buy anything without doing a deep dive on every Reddit thread. I
love having those people in my life.
Right? It's so nice. I love it. Thanks, Kyle.
My neighbor's like that. If you want anything that's like health related or fitness related, I'm like, that's what you're doing? Like, bring it on. But I will do this one. I will do this one. Have a good day.
Do they have a Whoop?
He's got a Whoop. He's got, we should have him on.
I need a Whoop because I just have the Apple Watch. I need to adapt. But I think that's a really powerful concept, because like the satisficer, I think that's very healthy, because in the end, that's what ends up allowing you to have endurance. Because if you go to perfection and like you let yourself get down that really unhealthy road where, you do it to the point of like pain and destruction, then you just burn out. Right. So it's like, it's better to do it 90% of the way so that you can do it for 10, 15, 20 years and actually stay in the game than try to be perfect, ad nauseum and at your own toxicity for 2 years and then burn out and flame out. And then you didn't actually achieve anything,
I feel like we should stick on that concept of endurance with these two. I think these guys are amazing examples and got to be educators in endurance, because I can't do what you guys have done. And I'm sure, has it started, like, what have you learned from like doing all that type of training to bring it into business or business into the training? Like, what came first there?
Well, so here's what I'll say. This doesn't necessarily apply to endurance specifically, but, as a coach, one of my favorite quotes to kind of tell athletes, right, is inspiration is for amateurs. Real professionals just show up and just work their ass off every day, right? Like there's no secret to it, right? This whole endurance-y kind of thing, right, is it sounds really boring, but you just kind of like you show up, you work, you move forward, you make progress, and then you rest, which is a really important part of it all, right? You have to rest so you can come back the next day and work hard again, right? and I think just the mindset of there's no Herculean task that needs to be done. You just kind of need to do it every day. Or 5 days a week, 6 days a week, however much people are working, right? But you just kind of do it every day, and a decade later you're there. Right? It's oversimplified, but
Yeah.
10-year overnight
Kathryn,
success.
Yeah.
That's how they talk about a lot of startups.
But Kathryn, you as an Ironman competitor, like how does that? What lessons from your Ironman training, relate to endurance there, right? Like how did you approach it?
Yeah, I 100% believe that anyone in the world could do an Ironman triathlon if they wanted to, because it's just training. Right? You just have to, anybody can do it. It's not, you don't have to be the most athletic, but you do have to put in the training. And I understand that 99% of people don't want to spend their weekends exercising. Totally fine. But I do think it's possible for anybody to do it, because it's literally an equation of input in, you get this output. The thing for me that I feel like is a through line, when I was training for Ironmans, it was 25 hours a week. On the weekends, we'd be on our bikes for 8 hours each day on the big training weekends. But I was doing it with friends. And so it was fun. It was social. And it made it more fun. It was like you have jokes, you have stories. And to me, the company building is the same way. If I had to build a company by myself, I would never do it. How terrible. But when you do it with other people, you have all these shared memories and experiences, and they lift you up on a bad day and you lift them up, and there's the friendly competition. You're making each other better. You're celebrating in the goals. And that to me is what it's all about. Like that's where you get the endurance from, is the fun and the people. So that's my secret to endurance. The other quote that I love, and I always think about this and share this with founders, is this is from Alex Friedman, who I don't know, but I should, because I quote her 100 times a day. I don't know that many startups that fail because a founder took a few days off, but I do know a lot of startups that fail because the founder gets totally burned out. And I always think about that. Like, I want to be able to do this for a decade, 20 years. What does it need to look like now for me to be able to do it for the long term? Because it's all about staying in the game as long as possible. That's how I think about it.
I love that so much. And I think that's why this is so fun to do these like double date type format things where like business and marriage kind of like they're all super intertwined, relationships too, not just marriage, but like that's, I think that what it takes to have a successful relationship period is like, I want to be in this relationship forever if I'm getting married, right? I don't ever want to get divorced. So what does this look like to make sure we stay married forever? And if like the endurance, if you look at marriage like an endurance race or, something that you don't want to break, that is breakable, how do you treat it every day? So I think it's very related to how you stay in the game and business. Like you said, it means that sometimes you just got to take a day off or you got to take a vacation. And I think I saw you post that on LinkedIn once, like that quote. And I was like, yes, it's okay. I'm going to go to bed. I'm tired. And it's going to be okay.
How do you guys keep the fun and energy in your relationship when you have so many other commitments?
I think that's kind of what's fun about our relationship. We've always had a lot of fun together. We laugh a lot. And I think I totally agree. Like that is the key in the end. There's nothing that gives me more joy than pranking my husband. Like I will go at length to figure out a way to like just surprise him or like just do something stupid. And even in the midst of like a high stress situation, I just want to like push him a little bit just to like make him laugh because he knows I'm going to say something stupid. It's going to make him more upset, and then we're going to laugh about it. Like I want to push the buttons. I just can't help it.
Zach, do you like that?
I've taught,
Man.
yeah. I've taught our boys how much fun it is to scare mom when she comes in and she's not expecting it.
Yes, it's the best.
That's funny. There's a book called The Levity Effect. I don't know if you've ever read The Levity Effect, but just the idea of like having fun, just, I don't know, makes everything better. And I think kind of like we talked about before, we tend to be in different spots at different times. And I think one of us has just had to pull the other person out. I think Stephanie was very instrumental at that in the beginning part of our relationship, whether it was work, whether it was growing something, or I always had something to do, and I put artificial deadlines on myself that had like building cabinets for the house. Why do they have to be done? Like, I can't take a break from it. Like, I have to continue. Like, no one's down my neck, to get it done other than myself. And so Stephanie would have to literally pull me out, like just set a line in the sand. Like, no, you're coming out and we're doing this together. And I think she set that bar early in our relationship. That like, we're going to do things together and have fun kind of along the way.
I think having fun is the biggest competitive advantage.
Enjoying like the little things, like you guys were talking about going to the grocery store. I mean, even unloading the dishwasher is a lot more fun with her. I get to pinch her booty along the way or whatever it is. There's a lot of good moments, and just having to get dishes out of the back of the dishwasher.
Just get sexually harassed. I just can't. I want to ask you about what your perception is of that when you're vetting founders, Kathryn. But maybe before I ask that, maybe because we haven't talked about your story from Pardot to Atlanta Ventures, do you want to just take a quick second and share that story? Because I want to like pepper you with, do you apply this when founders are pitching you and you're valuing their company and them as I want to ask all those, but I feel like just for the context of the listeners, we should hear a little bit of your story.
Sure. So I was employee number 9 at Pardot, which was acquired by Salesforce, was acquired by ExactTarget in 2012. And I remember that moment because I was at Ironman Hawaii and I saw somebody in an ExactTarget racing kit. And we met, and it was when the acquisition was happening. So it was super special. And then the next year, ExactTarget was acquired by Salesforce. And I stayed at Salesforce for 2 years. I managed the integration for the customer success, like post sales experience between Pardot and Salesforce. So learned a ton. And then I love startups. Salesforce is an amazing company.
Let me brag on you for a minute, because not everybody knows how freaking cool that is. Okay, so we're talking multiple 9-figure exit to Salesforce in the end, like double, right? And then Marketing Cloud. And Marketing Cloud at Salesforce is a big deal. Like, this is a super big deal. And this happened right here, like in the Southeast, right out of Atlanta. Like, super cool that you were there, like to build Pardot to the level of that acquisition, and then to get another acquisition so quickly, and to be there through that whole thing, and then stay on at Salesforce. What a freaking experience! Like, fangirl. I think that's awesome.
It was amazing, and you can't plan that, right? You just have to enjoy it and make the most of it. We can do a whole other podcast on all the fun stories along the way, or just a lunch. But okay, Salesforce,
so
amazing. No. Salesforce, amazing company, but I just love startups. So I joined another startup, Rigor. Head of customer success, moved into the COO role. Rigor was acquired by Splunk, in 2020. I also did another startup at the time that was it was deep during the pandemic. I had 2 kids under 2. Kyle and I were both working, no childcare. And I was like, we just need to pause on this for a minute. And that's when I reached out to my network, and I was like, I think I want to be a COO. And I reached out to David Cummings, who is the founder of Pardot and also an investor in Rigor. He said, would you like to join Atlanta Ventures as a partner on the team? And I said, I don't know what that means, but I'm going to say yes because it sounds great. Thanks. And that was 5 years ago. And so Kyle, as a coach and as a husband, has always been phenomenal, but there are moments where you either need tough love that only your spouse can give you, or you need the tough love in the pump up way that only your spouse can give you. And I remember going to Kyle and saying, Kyle, I don't know about investing. Like, how am I going to do this job? And he was like, are you kidding me? He was like, look at your background. Like, you know all this stuff about startups. You'll be able to figure out what a term sheet terms are. Like, that's no problem. And so it's awesome to have that. Sometimes you need that person who sees something in a different way than you to help shift your perspective. He was also the person that when I went from Salesforce to Rigor, you know, I just started out like grinding and working all these long hours. And he was like, what are you doing? Like, you went to a startup because you wanted to have more fun. And if you keep doing this, you are going to be in the exact same place you were in like 2 months. And I just love having you need some sanity at home, right? You need the person keeping you sane, whatever way it is. So that's the story, but also shout out Kyle. Thanks.
Shout out
This
Kyle.
is great. I don't remember any of this stuff. So this is great.
I love it.
This is news to me.
That's
So
so
helpful.
great. So
You're
now
very amazing, Kyle. Mark it
You're
up.
right.
the best. So now you're a partner at Atlanta Ventures, huge venture capital fund out of Atlanta. That's how we ended up crossing paths, because intro to intro and like Salesforce background, and so cool that we got to cross paths that way. And I think what you guys do is awesome. Anytime we have something cool happen, I'm driving down to Atlanta to be a part of it. So now, like, your full-time gig is to get to vet these companies to come in and do an incubator with you, or to make an investment in with, which I think is so interesting. So when you are getting pitched, or when you meet these founders, what are you looking for? How are you valuing companies from a revenue or pre-revenue idea? What do founders look like? Like, how can we learn from what you know?
Yeah. So I will say we do love people who are former athletes at a high level.
Ooh.
You don't have to be. There's all sorts of ways to showcase excellence, but athletes understand building something for the long term, weathering the ups and downs, that competitive nature of liking to win, but also doing it in a way that is collaborative. So we definitely love that profile across anything.
Yeah.
We invest at the stage of, we look for 10 passionate, paying, unaffiliated customers at the seed stage. That's for larger deal sizes. But I do think the passionate, paying, unaffiliated, for any founders out there, like, always be looking for that in your customers, because passionate means that you're solving a real must-have problem, and paying means that you value it enough to put real dollars behind it. You know, I love free things. I always like free things, but if you ask me to pay, all of a sudden I change my tune about how much I love it. And then unaffiliated just means it can't be your friends and family. Can you go out to a stranger and give the transfer of belief to them too? So that's, on the founder side, one example of something we look for. I can talk more about that, but also on the what is a good company side too.
Yeah. Okay, that's really cool. So only 10 though. So you don't have to have a million.
You don't have to have a million. We'd write a check at 10 and then you'd get 10 million. That's how that works.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And do you focus more on the seed stage, or do you participate in larger rounds?
We love to do seed stage. That's our sweet spot. The other thing that we love to do is start companies from scratch with amazing founders in our venture studio. So we'll co-found with a great founder. Usually it's actually somebody who has started a company before. It didn't work out. We love that, right? Because they want to do it again and they've learned so many lessons. I do think that's a carryover with sports and life and business.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Sometimes you learn the most from the things that didn't work than from the things that did. You want to really have a mix of both to really get all the lessons available. But if you've only been successful, coaches will say that the teams that they're most worried about going into the championship is the undefeated teams because they don't know what to do when they're behind.
Oh my gosh. I think that's going to be a little bit of life for somebody listening to this, because failure is an asset. Failure is
So good.
something like, that's amazing that you failed. What did you learn? Instead of having to be the perfect person that never failed and has always figured it out or whatever, that failure can be something that makes you more valuable, I think is extremely freeing to hear.
Come on. Let's fail, everybody.
Come on. Everybody go out there and try hard enough that you fail. Right? And then pick yourself up again and get a great partner and get better resources. And what did you take from that? That now you can, it's hard. It's hard to fail and then talk about it publicly and openly to somebody who's going to look at all your numbers and be like, is that a good enough idea? Right? That's so interesting that you want to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not failing. I mean, the company didn't work out, but you learn so much, and you learn by doing. You can't learn how to build a company by reading a research paper or hearing stories of somebody else building a company. The best way to learn how to do a company is to just get out there and do it. And that's how you learn. So we like the bias to action.
Yeah. And I mean, to have a growth mindset, you have to have a proper response to difficulty and to failure in terms of like, is it failing or is it, growth? Is it learning? And so you don't really have that opportunity to see how you responded. Like you said, if you're undefeated, once you've reached a challenge, then I get to see how you actually perform.
Yeah. I tell people a lot that embarrassment is the cost of entry, and you have to be okay with being embarrassed and being a beginner and then doing persisting. I think a lot of people fail to launch because they're worried about being embarrassed, or they're worried what someone's going to think because they're trying to do something new.
Yeah. Kyle actually helped me with my own growth mindset because I was very much the perfectionist. Like if I'm not good at it, I don't want to do it. And Kyle's much more of everybody sucks at the beginning. So you might as well just get the suck over with. Just start sucking. And yeah, you're really good at that, Kyle.
You just got to do it. Just
get started.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't suck that bad. That's
Yeah.
start there.
That's right.
It's not
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
You're not terrible.
Yeah, your running's not terrible.
You're less terrible today than you were.
Yeah,
Well,
that 100% that has come out of his mouth.
Hey, seriously
though.
though, like that's absolutely no, like this compares not at all to what you guys are doing in terms of building business and really building these awesome companies, right? But just talking again earlier about the way you can learn the lessons you need for building businesses, right? Like I've been trying to learn how to play golf for 3 years, and I have been failing constantly for 2.5 years, right? And I go out, I play, I look like a total jerk, not jerk, but like I have no idea what I'm doing, right? And it is really embarrassing. You hit these terrible shots, but man, I just keep showing up the next day, right? It's just like what we talked about, right? You just show up the next day and, maybe you're a tiny bit less terrible at golf the next day, right? But eventually you have a big breakthrough.
Right? 1% better, I think is, what we focus on. What can I do today? 1% better.
I have this coffee mug. I used to have this coffee mug. It broke. And it actually broke my heart when this coffee mug broke because it gave me so much encouragement. But many, many, many years ago, I went through this really difficult personal phase. And I don't know, I think I can talk about it without getting choked up. But I had a really difficult miscarriage. And one of my friends gave me a mug that says, "Courage doesn't always roar. It whispers, I'll try again tomorrow." And I think that is so powerful. And it really helped me get through that feeling of complete helplessness at that time. To be like, you know what? We're going to get up. I'm just going to try again tomorrow. And that is the most courageous thing. Not the I'm on top of the mountain and it's just, I'm going to quietly whisper, I'll do it again. I'll show up again. And I've kept that quote in the back of my mind with a lot of things. It's so applicable to kids, to marriage, to business, it's not the roar. It's not the big sexy announcement. It's I'm just gonna keep trying and then show up. And I think even Babe Ruth has a quote like that. It's hard to beat somebody who doesn't give up, right? It's a powerful reminder.
Yeah, I love it.
Kathryn, I wanted to ask you a question. The idea of, so your operations, systems, customer focused, like all those sort of things have scaled like ridiculous amounts. I think you guys had what? You said you were employee 9. You probably had 4 people on your team and grew that team to 100 people. Like, as somebody's trying to scale, 2 things that I always look into are like, what does that do for, like, how do you level up yourself as a leader to handle that? Because I'm assuming that it's a growth pattern, but then also control the culture of the organization or the team as you're trying to grow and scale that many people.
I'm going to answer the culture question first,
Yes.
which is core values. The company's core values are the most important thing to scale. It is not the technology. It's not the strategy. It is 100% core values. I think I've said 100% several times, but I do believe the core values, because what happens is you take your core values. This is how, it's like the operating plan of your company, right? This is how we do things. Now we interview for that, right? We make sure people align with how we do things on the front end. You measure performance based on core values. How well does this person embrace core values? And then you also give people a template for when we come across an unknown thing that we've never done before, which happens a bajillion times a day, all the time. This is these are the guide posts. This is the framework for how we think about things. So an example was at Rigor, our values were customer first. So what is the most customer friendly thing that we can do in this situation? Another value was use resources wisely. So that means use time and money wisely. So how do we help the customer, but also do it in a way where we're thoughtful about time and money? And so that, if I was going to give any advice, it would be like and it sounds funny, but shore up your core values. And then we could talk about this more, but you also want to make sure that they're authentic to the company, not just a top down, this is how we do. And you can incorporate them. You ask people about them, you bring them into the process, and then you also want to naturally integrate it into the fabric of the company. So it feels genuine, but also it's self-reinforcing. Like you don't, as the CEO, don't need to tell people, like other people are telling people and holding them accountable to the values. In terms of personally growing, I love coaches, as we can see on this call, having married one. So I love surrounding myself with people that help me get better. So I'm a huge believer in executive coaching, mentorship. I love to ask people, like, what do you think I'm good at? Where are my blind spots, so that I can get that feedback. And then knowing that you don't have to be perfect. It's okay. Maybe you're not the person for forever. That's okay. Like, be helpful in whatever capacity the company needs you to be helpful in. And then if you have to bring in somebody more senior, that's a great learning opportunity. And if you can grow and scale with the company, just understand like what your strengths are and lean into those. I would say be the best version of yourself. So you don't need to, I'll never be as funny as Steph, but I can at least be like super intense and into fitness. So I guess that's my strength.
Nice.
I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with us so much. I think this is going to be really helpful for people listening. It's helpful for me too. Like I feel like I got a lot out of it. If anyone wants to learn more about coaching or learn more about Atlanta Ventures, where can they go?
AtlantaVentures.com to check us out. I also blog on Substack at Kathryn O'Day.
Your blog is awesome.
Thank you. KathrynO'Day.substack.com, and connect on LinkedIn. That's another great channel. And if you want Kyle to coach you, you can message me. It's referral only, and I'm the gatekeeper. So
nice.
I love that.
There you go.
Is that okay, Kyle?
I was literally going to say the same thing. Bother Kathryn. She'll screen all of my incoming communications, and then she'll tell me what's important.
But this person seems legit. Okay, you can coach them.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I love it. Thank you guys so much again.
Thank you.
I think
this is awesome.
First of many double dates.
Yes.
Great.
Yes, please.
Thank you guys.